Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It is me, Kay, and I am here today to bring you Beyond the Gates Season 2, Episode 102 review. Okay, y'all, so this episode, my review probably will be brief because it's just, to me, was a housekeeping episode. It was a lot of things. It wasn't really a lot of things going on, but you know what I'm saying? But it was a lot of like gathering of the parts because as you know, we are preparing for Martin's not press conference, but his fundraising event. Okay, so Martin's getting ready for his fundraising event. Vernon is on the phone. Anita is helping plan because you know fundraising events is her judge. Vernon is on the phone nailing down Jack Newman, which you know we're getting ready for our big Beyond the Gates Young and the Restless crossover, which this is exciting because we just love when you know popular worlds collide. I'm not really familiar with Young and the Restless. It was very popular when I was young. Everyone was glued to the TV, especially in the 90s when it came out. There have been a lot of monumental moments on that show. They've probably have been on like 55 or so seasons. So yeah, this is a huge deal. Victor Newman is one of like the OG cast members, and we're gonna have some of the other OG cast members from the Young and the Restless pop up in Beyond the Gates this week. But just now, you know, Vernon has secured Victor Newman. He's hoping that Victor Newman is bringing all of his power and his influence and the coins to come with him to help Martin make money in order to sponsor his campaign. So we're doing that. Smitty has turned in his first part of his investigative piece, but the paper is so excited about his piece. They have actually decided that they want a 5-piece series. So he will be doing a 5-piece series. Sorry, y'all. I'm getting used to this new setup. There we go. He will be submitting a 5-piece series. So he said he is going to be working. He's going to be a busy beaver around the clock. He has to get this thing done because he got all these deadlines that he wants to meet. While we're, talking about Smitty, we also have Martin and his campaign manager sitting at the table discussing seating arrangements because they have to make sure that while this is a fundraising event, they don't want conflicts of interest going on at the tables. They don't want any any big to-dos going on at this event. They're making sure who is sitting at which table, making sure that who's who and they don't get along is not sitting at the same table. And so they said they have drafted 5 different seating arrangements for this event. And so Martin and his campaign manager are kind of trying not to stress out because this is a big deal. But they have also been down this road before. But it's just, they got to make sure they dot all their I's and cross all their T's. We see a brief moment with Jacob and Naomi. They're in bed together. They're still like, what's the word? They're still getting used to being normal again. They've been apart for a while. And so Jacob and Naomi are talking about how much they miss each other, how much they miss laying in bed together. They're doing what grown people do. And also it comes up that Jacob is still struggling with the loss of Derek. He is experiencing survivor's remorse, and he is making it his mission to nail down every single person involved in this plasma ring, especially because of what happened to Derek. So we have that going on, and Naomi is trying to be there the best she can, doing the best she knows how, because this whole thing has put her in a pickle of a situation, but she's doing the best she can to be there. Jacob does want to spend the entire day with her, but she does end up telling Jacob that she has to go and, catch up with Ashley. Ashley is still grieving. I don't think Ashley has been back to the hospital as of yet, but I just was wondering why. I know Jacob has things to do, but with what's happened, Jacob's father is the chief of police. If he wanted to shift his schedule a little bit, just to make sure he's doing well himself, I'm sure Chief Hawthorne wouldn't have minded. And I just feel like I just don't know why we're not seeing Naomi and Jacob spend that necessary time they need together, especially because they couldn't wait to get their hands on each other while the case was going on. They did all this sticking around and stuff. So they couldn't wait to get their hands on each other. And I just don't understand why they're leaving the house. It should dang near be honeymoons 3, 4, and 5 for them. Also, like I said, we hear Naomi saying she's going to visit Ashley. Now we skip over to Ashley's house. Ashley is still feeling her same guilt. Grayson does reappear. He knocks on her door. He's trying to plead his case to Ashley. He wants to apologize again and take accountability for the part he played in Derek's demise. Me personally, I don't necessarily know if I want to blame Grayson for what happened to Derek, because I do feel like Naomi had a point, you know, when Ashley ends up, Derek pleads his case, Ashley ends up putting him out. Naomi comes, Naomi listens to what Ashley says. I do feel like Naomi had a lot of valid points in what she was saying to Ashley. It was Derek who decided to go to the warehouse, even though Grayson had already told him it was in danger. I also feel like Ashley is blaming Grayson because if Grayson didn't mention her name, then Derek wouldn't have followed him. But also, if Grayson didn't mention Ashley's name, you know, Derek would have never let him go. And then all of that would have been brought to the clinic, which it didn't need to be. So, you know, Grayson just did what he thought was best in a situation in which he thought it was best. You know, and I can't really blame Grayson because Grayson was manipulated. I was about to say manipulated. He was manipulated and taken advantage of, and he was in a desperate place. That still doesn't acquit him of everything that has gone on, of course, but it's just a situation that we have at hand. It is what it is at this point. Ashley does hear Grayson out, hear the things that he does say, but Ashley is just not in the place. She's still very emotional. She's not in a place to really listen and to receive. And so when Naomi gets there, Naomi's just like, oh my God, like, I'm shocked you even let him in here. And Ashley was like, well, what do you mean? He wanted to come and stay his case. You mean he came over there and stay his case that you didn't listen to because you did majority of the talking, Ashley? Grayson didn't even really get no words out. Also, I mean, is anybody going to address the fact that Ashley has Grayson's very important papers at her house for his mom? We did not see her get them papers back, you know, because he swore to her that if anything happened to him, she would take care of his mom. So I just thought that I'd bring that back up just briefly because that is a valid point that I think should be discussed. Naomi basically tells Ashley again that she's just feeling guilty. And I don't know, at this point, it sounds like Naomi is caping for Ashley giving Grace another chance, because at the same time, Naomi's saying there's really no difference between Grayson and Derek. They both lied. Which, if you want to be technical, is true. But, I mean, Derek had control over certain things. Grayson kind of didn't. So to me, I kind of can see what Naomi was saying. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, Grayson did have control over, you know, his whole situation once he found out the truth, but he was too scared to do anything. So you couldn't really blame him for what was going on. But Derek, on the other hand, just was trying to manipulate Ashley to try to get her to do what he wanted her to do without actually having a conversation about it. So it was just a lot of lies told. But I do understand that Ashley is grappling with the fact that she was hard on Derek, which we all, the audience, I feel like can agree. I mean, I've been seeing a majority of the comments online, and a lot of people felt like Ashley was incredibly hard on Derek, which I think she was too. What else? Oh, the big overarching thing, duh, the impaler. Okay, so, y'all, I'm over Vanessa trying to be a mob wife for real. Like, Vanessa, baby, cakes, sweetie pie, you are not about that life, girl. And you are not a mob wife. She talking about some Randy, please leave me. Go back to the casino because I don't want another man that I love to lose. Vanessa. Please. Please, Vanessa. And she basically comes down there to the casino, basically to demand Joey to let her stay while the impaler comes. And I'm just like, Vanessa, are you nuts, girl? Don't nobody in this criminal underbelly of a world know you, okay? You have no street cred, sis. Joey is, I think, even scared. He is going through every precaution ever. Rightfully so, because this person is called the impaler, okay? Joey does stash the piece under the table where he gonna be sitting at in case things get shaky. He done, put a piece under the bar just in case little things get shaky. Randy is now there because after Vanessa gave him that lecture about how Doug was so loyal, she was so glad that Doug was his friend and Doug was a piece of his childhood and Doug was around and all this, all that, boop, 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 boop. She done did all of that. And so I'm just like, okay. And you know what I mean? Like, okay. But Randy ends up listening to her, goes back to the casino. Joey asks him, like, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be at the penthouse with Vanessa. But there is a guard outside the door standing at Joey's home to guard Vanessa. So Vanessa is nowhere near danger. And I don't know how many times Joey has to keep reiterating to Vanessa, this lifestyle is dangerous. There's certain parts that you don't need to know and you don't need to be involved in. Just like a couple episodes ago, she asked Joey, what are we going to do about Jacob and them? Okay, at this point, I guess I have to take Joey's word for it. Joey's not involved in a plasma ring. But here is Joey trying to state his claim that this is his turf and that he don't want just anybody coming up trying to, bring ruckus into the area in which he, does his business. And plus, everybody keeps blaming him or, he's partially responsible for the demise of Derek. So Joey is trying to clear his bad name, I guess. But all in all, the episode ends with Joey saying, is you. So I'm just like, is he saying, is you, like, is you, I'm finally meeting the impaler in person? Or is he saying, is you, like, he knows the person and he didn't know that the person who is the impaler is the person he knew? And why would they wait until today? Now I feel like seeing a trailer for all of this week's episodes, I just would like to point out, I know this is a soap opera. How many big traumatic events is this show gonna have? Because we done had the plasma ring, we done had Martin being followed by that dude, we done had Chelsea being kidnapped, we got this whole thing with Anita and her cancer diagnosis, we had the whole thing with the articulates, we got the whole thing with the, anniversary party. Now, something's going to happen at Martin's fundraising event. Now we got to stay tuned this week to find out what happened. I think that's all for my episode 102 analysis. It's like I said, it was really nothing going on. It was just a builder episode, really. But yeah, y'all, I should be back to tell y'all the tea on what I think is going on in Beyond the Gates and Fairmount Crest, because we finna have a big crossover this week and something's going down. So like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned. I will be back with more videos. Deuces.